Going on, everybody? It's Big Chonis. Thank you very much for joining me today. I thought I'd come all to you live here as we're seeing some nice looking bullish Bitcoin price action breaking through 4,000 and currently holding with notable volume coming in kind of across the board there. I was watching six charts here: Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ethereum Classic, and this one has been kind of a miscellaneous. Right now, it's on the longs and shorts. And what we've been seeing here is the longs rose up today. This is the hourly chart, actually longed out and then took actually some profit when the initial break of 4,000 was achieved. Shorts are down to lows we have not seen since August, and we are basically seeing them just barely holding that area of support there as as Bitcoin right now we're hitting this interesting flag here with a similar linear area of resistance, and it'll be interesting to see if we can bust right through there and hold above this line here, because we can see it as a parallel rejection to a very clear support line here and initial rejections here. And for now, the 4070 area is going to be something to watch here. Now we're seeing Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum quickly pop as well. Litecoin, it appeared it was doing this head and shoulders pattern here, definitely trying to break that potential of this bearish fall here. And listen, just as a clean look here of the week's consolidation we've had, not even a week, like 5 days, I guess. Of this move here, we're basically watching to see Bitcoin is now put in a higher high. Bitcoin Cash is still topping off with a double top. Ethereum clearly with a higher high extension. Litecoin here still with a lower high double top, and Ethereum Classic as well with a lower high double top. So different charts are showing us that Bitcoin had a cleaner bullish flag growing as well. Did Ethereum with the pennant, and then Bitcoin Cash was still looking like a declining or descending triangle here. Kind of this move. Maybe it was a triangle as well. I guess it could have been something like this, little more of a pen here, but it had these bottom wicks here that were pretty much double taps. So I was looking at it like that. But now, because we've broken through here this way, it almost feels it has more of a bullish flag basically pattern to it, with something like this still, until proven otherwise, which is basically still a bullish consolidation pattern, but we're still double topping until Bitcoin Cash can get above 150 here. Now, Bitcoin is going to lead the way on this. So let's just go right to it and see. This is the hourly chart. We saw volume really spike up the last hour, and then this hour's continuation volume is truly notable, much higher than this previous hourly we had here earlier in the week there. That definitely took us higher and took us to this next area. But still note near term here, and I want to keep this very accurate on the wicks here. Again, I'm on the hourly. Listen, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 taps here of this lower line with a congruent area of resistance turn support here. So pretty comfortable with this lower linear line of support. And the resistance line using the wicks here, we have 1, 2, 2, I could call this one cluster. And now we're popping through with 9 minutes to go in this current hourly candle. I would like to see us close above this. Maybe we might need to wait another hour or so to do that. But for now, this can be an area of near-term resistance. Now, this area, and I'll go to a higher time frame, my 12-hour here, kind of zoom back in time here. Where are we in conjunction to our previous high that topped us off the last time, and that has to do with this wick here on January 8th, and we're still below that. So we are still below that. Again, it's early, but we're still below that. And that will be a target initially to see if we can get above. So 41.15 and change puts us in the area of not just this wick, but these wicks here that can still take us up to the 42s if we can break through this near-term resistance here. Now, keep an eye on the volume. This is the 12-hour. We have about half the candle left. We are yeah, that would be, yeah, that's the daily volume. So this will also finish up our daily volume with these two candles basically back to back. So looking strong here, relatively speaking. Really, the rest of this day is going to really talk a lot of volumes about being able to hold above 4,000. I think a close above 4,000 USD. It's hard to think that if we can close above it, there's no reason why we're not going to at least try to build at least to test these key areas, these next areas of logical resistance. So as we've broken higher here, we basically have to contend with a couple triangle resistances that are now breaking through. One was, let's see here, it was this one here. Yeah, so basically from 6K, we had hit it, right? Give a little deference there. Yeah, to even this top wick here, didn't quite hit it the last couple, and we actually rejected on it here, and now we are currently breaking through it. So that's another area of diagonal resistance that we currently poking our heads through, but we still note our horizontal resistance here that is still in play. Big Chonis. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Big Chonis. So I put this tweet out yesterday about this continuing pattern, and what this was every time we had a bounce off an oversold fall, our February of 2018, we bounced, we came all the way back with a higher low, and then the secondary bounce put us somewhere rejecting between the 0.55 and the 0.618 extension of that bounce. We repeated the same thing here back with our July into August bounce, and then the reciprocating bounce was a lower high, also topped out right at the 0.55, and now we are basically yesterday, and between here and about 4,031, which would put us above the 0.618, we begin to negate this happening for a third time there. So as we are busting through that resistance, let's go back to a lower time frame here. Let's go to the 15, see what kind of follow-up volume we're watching here on the break. Remember, we're still above our flag here in the near term, and so far nice looking volume cluster. 5 minutes to go in this 15-minute candle. Have seen declining volume. Follow up the past couple minutes there, but again, the fact that we're over 4,000, it's important to start using 4K now as a support area at this moment where it had been a major resistance the past couple times there. What did this move do to our near-term indicators? RSI on the hourly above 82. What was the 15-minute there? 92 on the 15-minute. We can get up to 94-ish here, which was as high as we got on our last big pump. And so we're getting high on the lower time frame RSIs. The 5-minute must be off the charts. Yeah, still above 88 there. So very strong there on the lower time frame RSIs. The higher time frame ones obviously have running room. And what did this do to our daily here? Did this break the... Looks like it probably broke through that head and shoulders there. So far, this is intraday here. Actually, the 6 hour probably the most accurate. It's because we just closed that candle. So there's the second push there. Oh yeah, what did the daily? That's what it was. The Stochastic. Oh, here's the MACD still ranging higher there. Very nice bullish histogram. And where did I hide my stochastic? Where's my stochastic? Oh, there's my stochastic. Okay, so yeah, there was the second over, and still haven't crossed here for the third attempt there. But that's definitely to see how this ends up the day. So a lot of this daily ending candle will definitely be quite interesting. Let's go back to a lower time frame here as we're still remaining very bullish. 4080 here after this upward consolidation. Actually, let's go to the hourly. Let's go back to all the charts and see if we have any breaking through. So nothing leading out above Bitcoin at this point. We have Bitcoin still strong here, and nothing is getting above it ahead over yet. Let me just pull up some. What about the EOSs and stuff? Yeah, EOS. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow, 419. Yeah, EOS has been really powered, and by far one of the bullish. And look at that, the 1, 2, 3, 6 here on the extension. So yeah, I want to talk about some extensions as to where we're currently hitting here. So let's go back to Bitcoin. So yeah, Bcash still under 150. Ethereum 150, 156 area. Little Chonis. Oh boy, what's up, buddy? Thank you so much. Much appreciated, my friend. Um, Little Jonas. So we're not seeing a divergence yet, but remember, Bitcoin can definitely blast through here. Let's go back to our BTC, and let's go back to our one chart, and let's go back to our 15-minute here. Nice way to close out. We got a minute left in this 15-minute candle here. And everything is just popping now. 15 minutes, stochastic and topped off again. Look at that OBV rise there, just rocket ship. But we want to see if we can get to at least 41.15. Can't fit that in the 1 minute. There we go. So 41.15 from a horizontal. That's still our closest near-term next test. To see if we can get through this on the first attempt. Sometimes first attempts aren't always successful to get through areas that are clearly resistance areas. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there was our volume spike there too. We've been hovering. It looks like, interesting. It looks like we have a new, this is something I'll keep an eye on here. So our previous bounce area here on February 8th coincided with this cluster. Now we have, for 3 consecutive hits in a row, we have a new volatility right there. We have a new volatility line that denotes volatility when it is touched in the BitMEX volume spike indicator. So it touched here, we had a volume spike, touched here, we had a volume spike, and literally right on it once again for a third time. That for now has been signaling that volatility at least was incoming. Let's go back to Bitcoin here. We are still pushing as we close out. Oh, we closed out the 15. And we closed out the hourly, and we are in a new hourly candle, and that is a pretty good looking hourly candle there, to say the least, with the volume behind it as well. And again, we are looking to see how the test of 41.15, which is our next horizontal resistance, because we are only $20 away from it now. We're going to see how the market reacts to that potential touch, which seems to be at this point likely, since we are crawling ever so higher. Going to keep it on the 15, on the hourly. It's probably as wide as I can get it here, and see what happens. Now, as I said, if we can break through here, we basically have running room for another, $125 potentially up to the next set of upper wicks resistance area. Doesn't mean we're going to get it completely, but it definitely can get you into that zone if that 4115 area can be broken through. Okay, here we go. Here's our 4104, 4111. Looking strong. Let's see here, Bitcoin. Almost there, just $3 more. And we're going to test this previous area of resistance. Can we do it? We're right there, 109. We need like five more dollars. Blast through it or reject off of it. Let's get it really tight. There we go. That's better. Remember, we were here, God, over a month ago. This was January 8th. It's February 23rd. And this was our resistance that we're looking to hit and break through. We're so close. How high do we get? We got within almost $3 of it. Look, Kevin, we're still early in this hourly candle here. We're right there. And we're watching to see how the market reacts to this. While we watch, I'm going to see who's in the chat room. Wow, 143. That's good. Still doesn't work. 143 of my closest, 145. All right, it's even better. Of my closest friends, SS Swartz, TJ00, TJO002, MWM48, Ray A, Mark P, Jay Constant, Apache Kid, hello Jeanette Crypto, Omar B7 Oaks, hello Robin, Tiger99 Demur, Free Soul Park, Little Chonis, my man, thank you very much for the tip. Paul Al, remember you guys, your tips are greatly appreciated. Paul Al, Freer Saul Park, Robert G, Josh Cohout, for fun. Mick Nick 95, hello Martin, thank you sir. Hello AT, hello James Ashmore. Spain, all right. All right, so Bitcoin's still pumping there. Just heard something. Thanks, Little Joan, whoever you are. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, we're punching through now. This was our previous area of resistance. There's the breakthrough on this wick. We broke through it, and we basically have kind of air now until potentially the next one. But we'll see how we can hold above here and what kind of buying pressure we get now that we are above it. Seems to be continuing here on good looking volume. So this was like this was our first resistance, because basically by breaking through here now, we've broken our initial lower high. We now have our first, not our first, but our first higher high in this length of time here. And then only by a break of our green line will actually be a market higher high on the post initial bounce to the strong current rejection around the 42.39 area. So ever since that 42.39, our next highest top off was 41.14, and that's where we currently are just poking our head through right now, because that's what we can clearly see is trying to be achieved here. Let's go back to our 6 charts and see if anything is dominating here. Ethereum pushing through 157 now. Ethereum Classic has had a nicer flag here, breaking through that up to 480. Litecoin still finding that resistance right there. I'm gonna keep my head and shoulders thing here for now, just in case this actually becomes more of a double top. Well, actually, so now that maybe this is more of a, what is this? What is this? Is this like a more like a flag like that? Hmm. With something like a middle channel resistance and then up to here to 55, 56, something like that. I'm not, it's hard to see because it had this next push, unless this is the push that really should be the, it's hard to say because we only have just the one touch up here so far. So I'll keep this up here for now. We'll see how that plays out. I'm still happy with this. This one, Bitcoin Cash, again, it was right at that area there where a double top can definitely be turned into a breakout. And Ethereum, even in this resistance here, is still in the bullish flag pattern, as well as Bitcoin has broken through the near-term flag. So we're going to keep this line up here, and now see how strong of a support it is if we do get a back test. And that's going to be rising through just a little bit below 4,100. So let's look at a couple things on Bitcoin's higher time frames, and keep an eye on this. Remember, we're still haven't. I mean, these are breakouts of the patterns here, but we still need to break out of the breakout, um, which still is lower highs on several coins and double tops on several as well. Remember, Bitcoin here. Did find that first break of it right there, and that's an area that we expected resistance from, and we'll see how strong of an area it is. Again, the first tap of a resistance area, the break is definitely not the most necessary thing, or at least the follow up is really what's more important here. Having done this, another tip, Hai Woon Lee, thank you, sir. Yeah, I could be into politics. Chilling for vice president. I'm not sure what his policies really are, but I much appreciate it. So we're still right here, and listen, the bottom line is we're above 4,000 in Bitcoin. So let's keep the 4K area, a consolidation between above 4K and below 4,100 is definitely healthy, if we even need to do that. But until it break down below 4,000, the bulls clearly do have the control here, having broken through this near-term resistance. But again, overall, we're kind of watch the follow-up through on this here, because these little breakthroughs need to be shown to be more substantiated with all these follow-ups that kind of persist here, and just a normal pullback of the push higher is fine, as long as the follow-up to it becomes apparent and definitely becomes sustainable. So on any pullback, now that we've broken through at least our near-term resistance area here. Paul L, thank you, sir. Was that €5? That's awesome, buddy. Thank you, my friend. So again, now that we've broken through our near-term flag now, parallel, I should call it more, that the back test of it will be notable. And again, the follow-up candles here on the breakthroughs need to be important. We basically have, especially this hourly here, it's still it's still only like $100 move in the price action of Bitcoin, so we still have to keep things into perspective. The retest of this area, the inevitability of it was basically there, just because the structure of these two impulses here. You felt at least the market had enough oomph in it to at least touch our last resistance, and so far, mission achieved here. Now the question is, are people loading shorts into this? Are people switching from their longs into shorts now that we're above 4K, or are they basically feeling, okay, we now actually have running room past the 4100, past the 4200, and then up to our uh, next horizontal, even from that here, which would put you right around 44. All those um, can obviously be achievable, but it's about turning the resistance here into support. And basically, for now, even though we've poked our head above it, we're still treading water a little bit below. But let's face it, this is still early in the day, and this is Saturday here. So look at our daily candle and how it's formed up here. Again, we still have 6 hours to go in our daily candle. I mean, look at this just continuation here. We've seen this before. It just feels like we've seen it. It kind of reminds me of this here, this wave here, where it was very kind of clean waves, lots of high wicks in both directions here, but a nice clean wave pushed through. And then that last push here, back to back candles, little pullback, and then the last push here wasn't able to pop, plus the confluence here of this tweezer, making a lot of these bullish candles here, pushing us again here in the next 6 hours. Looks like a rolling pin. The next 6 hours um, will be very interesting to see how this upper wick forms out, because we already have our lower wick here. So the form out should be continuing to be interesting to see. Crypto supply, Cunning, thank you, sir. DJ, I breaking 26K is correlated. So I've always felt a bullish stock market is really a necessity for Bitcoin. Bullish market in itself, just because I feel crypto is still thought of as extremely risky, and with the evidence of the past year to be shown to be that that's the case. But you get a wealth effect from the overall stock market, and that can translate into freeing up capital to invest in crypto. And you combine that with Wall Street adoption, BOCT, which whenever that hits, that will hit, and then the inevitability of ETFs and other instruments and securities that are crypto related. All of this opens up new doors to fees. Let's face it, this opens up new opportunities to charge fees to clients and customers. So obviously, this is in the best interest of um, the Wall Street and capital markets to invest in that kind of infrastructure. So yes, a Dow and a bullish stock market, I think at this point does support at least the near term potential of Bitcoin. Actually, the dollar index and the inverse to that with Bitcoin is actually quite interesting, where a strengthening dollar recently correlated to a lower Bitcoin, I believe, and a weakening dollar correlates to a higher Bitcoin price action. So we'll be watching that dollar correlation as well to see if that stays true. And let's say if the Dow and the Nasdaq and this S&P, and listen, this 9 weeks of straight up price action in the Dow and what have you, um, begins to correct. It'll be interesting to see how that affects crypto, because for now both have been correlated over the past, well, really since 2019. Bitcoin was heading straight down, and now it's heading in an upward move here, whereas the DJI, and oh yeah, that's a good idea. Come on, what the heck? Is that why? No, not sure why that's frozen. That happened the last time too. Anyways, so all right, so watching Bitcoin here, still over 41. So let's bring up a couple things here. This is our MA50, MA100, MA200. We were very bullishly seeing the break of the 100 and hold with the backtest on the follow-up candle, and ranging as we are higher above it here. Now that we have broken the 50 and 100, is it plausible to get the MA200 in our sights here? It is falling, and over the next couple days, will basically continue its trend here. Getting below 5K. I mean, what's only falling at a rate of like a couple bucks a day. So it's still going to be probably a little bit above 5K. It will take a quicker fall. Probably not, unless it enters some of this previous price action here. Might be a little bit of a lagger. So this will actually accelerate the fall in the next couple weeks here. But yeah, I mean, how do we not extrapolate a possibility that the break of the 50 and the 100 can't potentially lead to the 200? Just out of curiosity here. Let me make this. What is the MA 150? Where does that lie? That is right here at 46.14. Just out of curiosity there, because we actually have some interesting MA on higher time frames into next month. That'll be curious. So we have this. Now let's go to our weekly. So it's Saturday, so we actually do have one more day left in the week, and this current weekly candle, where it is quite promising, because look, if we were to close right now, we would have a close above 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're right on it there. We're right on these candles here of resistance. About 6 weeks. Basically, we would be above all this price action here from a closing area of standpoint. And that would be really very nice sign to have achieved that. The support of the MA200 as well is notable, being touched basically twice here and finding that support twice. Now, we do have this cross here on the weekly MA50 going, down into the 100, but it's not the most vicious insertion here, and it's still intra-week here as this is happening. And then there's the monthly, which we have 5 more days left of this monthly. Nothing really to argue much with that candle, the way it looks at least. Bullishly engulfing the previous 2 months of price action, December and January price action. So right now, if the monthly were to close right now, we basically would be closing above December's open, but still lower than December's high. Which was the 42.50 area. And that's something to keep an eye on, because the last time we've had a bullish green monthly candle, which is here. Actually, we have 3. So ever since our $20,000 Bitcoin top off, we have had 1, 2, 3, 4. We're assuming 4 green candles. This one was followed up by a very big red candle, followed up by a red candle, followed up by a red candle, and we don't know what March will bring. So we have history that even when we get a green candle, and we got a couple nice ones here, our April was a good looking one. July was okay. The upper wick there was a little ominous, and actually proved to be the close of that month was almost the top of August there. But we have multiple examples as well of a green month followed up by a red month. But of course, trend changing circumstances can definitely reverse that. So there's a good chance we're going to enter March into a setup where we could potentially switch that around and put in a back-to-back green month. And that would definitely add some play there. Note our volume, though, in this monthly candle, to see a very good looking green candle there with still a significantly lower volume, even with 5 more days left to go. Be really curious to see how much volume we'll get, but looks like we'll probably still put in slightly lower volume profile this month. And note our MA50 on the monthly still acting as support. Let's go back to our lower time frame here, Bitcoin price action. This is the 15-minute. Again, we're seeing just follow-up strength here. We're probably going to see our EMAs moving here. Now, I want to get rid of this. Oh, I want to actually do one more thing here. I want to go to the 4-hour. I just want to see where. Yeah, see, we're really fanning here on our MAs on the 4-hour here. So we don't want to get too far above here and ahead of our skis, but that is quite something there. We fanned Pluto Red. So this is the clean, but again, it's because of our consolidation, but this is definitely a cleaner fan profile here. Where we have our low, medium, and near-term higher indicators here, and just our 4-hour candle. We're still in this 4-hour candle. We can talk about our shorter-term time frame stuff, the 15 and the hourly. We're still in just one 4-hour candle here, and where does that place us in the Bollinger? Again, we tighten, we broke through, we spread out. We're way above our upper Bollinger, 4-hour, 6-hour. 12-hour. Now this is right at the top of our 12-hour on a wider 12-hour, but definitely a bullish 12-hour as well. Note middle Bollinger support, which had acted as support here, is around 37.77 and rising with the price. And then daily, we are currently outside of our upper Bollinger on our daily. Looks like a daily close above 4,070 would put it above that to close as well. And then our weekly, I've been eyeing overall middle Bollinger on the weekly 4,456 and falling. Last week it was 4,523, 4,4. So it's about $60. So something around 4,345 would put it right here starting on Sunday night into Monday, and that would be again a resistance area which has held the price of Bitcoin below it many times that it has been tested, going all the way there. Wow, 248. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me here. We'll kind of keep it going as we're watching this Saturday afternoon Bitcoin breakthrough. I saw there was a circumstance where I don't remember where I saw it. I think on Twitter where there was another Saturday breakout that started the day looking pretty good, and then closed the day not so much. But I can't know where that one is there. Oh yeah, I want to bring up my cloud here on the daily. A couple things here. So we are definitely breaking through and up into our cloud here. Cloud still very wide on the daily. It was the last time frame, that was not broken into. Every other cloud is bullish on the lower time frames here. Using Tenkan Sen, using Kaijin Sen, using cloud support. And now on the daily, finally, we are just looking at a potential of a bullish cross here. Still right there, they're just touching right there. We have a good extension. Now, we have yet to test and touch the bottom cloud as support. I always kind of like to do that. We have examples of that on lower time frames back, was it here, where we got into the cloud, got through it, and then really came back here before we had the test of support, which failed. So to be this far into the cloud here without a major bottom cloud test support. Now again, this can cradle Bitcoin's price action if we got back below 4K on any kind of a pullback, with still the momentum to potentially go higher there. Otherwise, still a full edge to edge on the daily could put us, still in the high 4,000s, if that's a possibility. Now, this upper line of resistance will continue to fall. This lower sign of support will continue to rise. So we're going to see how the price action gets kind of sandwiched between these two guys. But to have the higher time frame daily showing this continuation with just the chance there we're going to do a TK cross. Still on the higher 2 and 3 day charts, still bullish with the support there, but still quite a ways to go before that cloud can be obviously tested. And another weekly, still, ways to go before you even touch the Tenkan-sen. And notice that was actually resistance here when it was touched the last time on that break. This will actually drop again into the next week there as well. Let's go back to the hourly. Go to my cloud for a second here. Let's look at a couple of TD counts and see where we are and if any counts stand out. Hourly, mid-cycle, 4-hour, and so 6 hours on a 7. So this could basically take us bullish into into tomorrow. Interesting. The next setup trend line on the 6-hour is right here on our last 9, about 43.11. And note we found support when we were able to break through this last one here at 38.23. 12-hour. Whoa. 12-hour. Look at you. Hmm. So this is a 12-hour, very bullish 12-hour with a 9, with a bleeding 9, with a bleeding combo 13, and the daily is only on a 7 here. So between the daily and the 12-hour, that's a big divergence there, where the TD is really late in the count there, on that 12-hour. It's interesting. And then the daily shows were, later in the count here. And on the daily, on the bearish side, we did have this 9 here and then the bleed here. What was our last bullish 9? We did a 9 and we hit right there. We hit the combo 13. That was the daily. So that was the last daily we had there with that 9. What was our last bleeding 9 on the 12-hour? We only got to an 8 there. We got to a 9 there. So that's really, we haven't had one of those on the 12-hour for, bullishly that is, for quite some time. Definitely something to keep an eye on there and to see, because for this to flip now, I mean, we need to go, we need to basically close below 4K again for this to flip into, this needs to close below 49.50 and to close into a red count there. So that's notable. And I know the weekly is still in a green 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to remain a green 3, and then green 4, and then the green 5. So we have a couple more weeks here of a green, as long as we're closing above 3,600 on the weekly. And our monthly is still a red 7. And will surely close as a red 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the March needs to close below 39.78. So if March closes below 4,000, that would be a red 8. And then April has to close above 36.80 or below to be a red 9. So we can definitely break our red TD count on the monthly, potentially starting next month with a 1, 2, 3, 4 with with a close above 39.76. So that's interesting. March with a close above 4K would flip this guy here. So yeah, so we're kind of keeping an eye on that. So let's go back to our near term Bitcoin, and we're seeing our slight consolidation after our breakthrough of our nearest of terms resistance here. Now this is the 6 hour. We're only a half hour into this current candle here, so I'm not going to draw any conclusions on it just yet. The hourly candle, we have gone halfway through, and some conclusions could be drawn on it, but it's just to be above. I mean, you got to give deference here to the fact that now that we're above 4K, whether it's holding our rising line of flag support and or just holding our previous area of resistance, now turn support a little bit below 4K. See, I wouldn't even want to do that. I really don't want to lose 4K. If we're doing this bullishly, going to test these other key areas, higher up here, at this point, it's just hold 4K or bust. Anything else would be just kind of, but we can still, I mean, I guess we can come back a little bit to the 39s there and then try and consolidate into this. Again, it depends if we're prepared to consolidate this or if we're still, I mean, if all this is going to happen, because if this continues to happen, as we looked at the weekly and the daily charts there, definitely be a very bullish close to the daily, the weekly, and potentially even the monthly chart as well, which is definitely notable. Guys, check out my website. It's still a work in progress here, but I do talk about my mentoring I offer. 1 hour sessions, 129. Basically, talk about a lot of the indicators and whatnot I talk about on the show, and we can go kind of into some more detail, answer any questions you guys may have. Kind of a one-to-one I use with Skype, where you can see my screen and get a sense of kind of what I talk about and what you would like to talk about in a more personalized setting. Please feel free to reach out to me, email bigchonis@gmail.com. For that as well. Let's look at longs and shorts here because I really want to see let's see, is anything really standing out? Shorts. Okay, so Bitcoin longs, we saw this earlier in the day where they were rising here. Someone took out a long position, a decent size one. Earlier before this most recent pump. Let's see here. Bitcoin shorts, you could argue there's one or two things here. There's either they saw this was coming as well, deleverage one more time down to 18,000 just to get in a better position to short at a higher price. And we're seeing just a small little uptick there on the shorts there. I'm curious to see what Ethereum's doing just because Ethereum shorts are really low right now. And Ethereum longs are really high right now too. So it could take the snap. It wouldn't just have to be Bitcoin, but it could take the snap of Ethereum leading this charge here to potentially stop the move here. And listen, Ethereum and the Constantinople fork, which is happening next week, I assume, right? That's something that is supposed to be a news-driven event that needs to define if Ethereum has any other reason to go up after said event is over, after the fork is complete and whatever happens to it. So I've been talking for almost an hour here, and let's go back to this Bitcoin here. Whoops. And what we've basically been seeing is, for those of you just joining us, a couple things here. Bitcoin was able to break through the previous resistance area back on January 8th. Is currently intraday below it, but was able to peek through on notable volume. Bitcoin Cash still putting in a double top. Looks like Ethereum Classic right now also putting in a double top. And Litecoin as well putting in a double top from the previous resistance, just a little bit above $50 there. Actually, yeah, I'll do something like that for now. Representing right there. That's good. A double top. So we had a couple double tops here. We have Bitcoin definitely with that breaking through there and initial resistance. And because of this, first attempt breakthrough completion, it's notable to find a little pushback on the initial break of that area there. What else is notable? 56. So yeah, looks like ETH, ADA, and Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's still pretty strong. Ethereum Cash, a little bit of a lagger. And then a couple of the alts not really running as hard. Let's see, what do I have? I got to update my alts list here. There's a bunch that aren't even on anymore. And there's a bunch of new ones that I have to add. Definitely some strong moves here. Nothing super duper crazy though. Again, we've only moved with Bitcoin, even with the 4K psychological break. We're only up, 100. I guess it's $200 from where we've been hovering the past couple days here, which for Bitcoin is definitely notable. So we've found an interesting area of the volume there. Oh yeah, so let's talk about Ethereum for just a moment, because this fork in the road is supposed to happen like something around here. I've seen 25, I've seen 27, I guess it's 27th now, something in this area here. So when this takes place, it's going to be interesting to see, how the market finally does react to this buy the rumor, potentially sell the news event as we're watching the consolidation here. Does Ethereum have one more push? Now, remember, 160 was firmly rejected here and here and here the last couple times it was tested for breakout. So we almost had his triple top here rejection on the hourly with a cluster here. And now we're just there once again, So we're back testing still a very key area and still a very strong area of resistance until proven otherwise. Which reminds me, let's do some extensions. Let's go back to Bitcoin here. And let's start on a couple extensions here that we're putting in a higher low. So we'll do our first overall extension from our initial impulse to where we are here. And still haven't touched the 786. We were hitting 0.55 resistance for quite some time here, blasted right through the 618. And again, 786, which happens to correspond almost with that double top here, of that resistance in Bitcoin puts the price action around 4203, and then a 1-to-1 all. And looks like we're back. Are we back? Looks like we're back. My computer's telling me it's almost time to switch off. No, I think we're good. All right, so let's look at a couple more things here. And so this would be for Bitcoin at least. Still areas that I would like to want to target. Now, not all these are the same. We have almost more of a couple bullish scenarios here where we have with Ethereum at least, we're very close to that 1-to-1. Again, putting us right where 160, 164. I mean, right at our double top here, that's our 1-to-1. So it's like we're almost there with our Ethereum 1-to-1. I'm sorry, our Ethereum 786, our 1-to-1 is actually 180 around this 178 area up here. So potentially an expansion of Ethereum to that 1-to-1 is that 180, whereas the Bitcoin there would be somewhere around that $4,400 region. And if Bitcoin can get to $4,400, surely like Ethereum would be at that 180 area. Bitcoin Cash, let's see here. Get rid of a couple things here. Would be, so it was this to this to this. Oh, that's all right. Oh, that's right. 'Cause this thing had a much longer run of consolidation. It'd be to here. So, yeah, Bitcoin Cash actually shows the most bearish, or does it show actually the most running room here? We're just breaking through the 236. We could potentially target the 382, which does correspond with this next area of resistance from the chart perspective, which was a triangle of consolidation before it broke bearishly. And that's at 164, 164 is 94, which is that next bullish possible running room extension as well. So we see, ETH already hitting the 786 area. Bitcoin Cash not even getting above the that 382 area, and then we have Litecoin here, which is beyond the breakthrough of the 1-to-1 extension. I got to add my 236s back. That 1, 2, 3, 6, and 178. There we go. So, and a little bit under the 1, 2, 3, 6, clearly showing Litecoin's most bullishness here. So let's go back to Bitcoin, and as we approach the hour mark, and we'll close out the show. Again, thanks for you guys hanging out with me. Please give me some thumbs up as well if you enjoyed this content. As well, much appreciated with the tips today. Lil Chonis kicking in a couple times there. Huan Lee, Paul L, Crypto Supply Company, you guys rock. Much appreciated. And just seeing a very slight consolidation, still, above 4,000 with a buffer now. And seeing how this interaction, now that we have touched and broken through at least on our wick of our previous resistance area there, will be something that will be notable to see if it's a double rejection, and or we can use it as support and retest the next key area, which is frankly only a couple $100 higher from where we currently are. So we're not that far out from a percentage standpoint of Bitcoin to break into these key areas here. The question is, how much shorting is the market going to want to do as we approach these previous areas of notable resistance? On our daily chart, This is probably a candle that should, well, I shouldn't say that. We'll see how this holds up here um, while it consolidates. And then heading into tomorrow, we'll definitely be able to see how we can close out our weekly candle, which is very strong right now, almost a Maribozu. Um, by the way, the week started with barely any wick on the bottom, and so far just a very little wick on the top. So the bulls definitely have a pretty solid opportunity now to at least close the week out with a very strong showing, um, which would put the price action above these key areas of resistance that for now are still resistance. But we're right there. Bitcoin is at least knocking on the doorstep of these areas of key resistance that could potentially be acted as support, and will be something that, as we close out tomorrow's candle, which is this weekly, be curious to see how that plays out. 3-day closes tomorrow as well. 2-day closes tomorrow as well, and all looking very good here. And we'll keep an eye on the extent to our expansion of the Bollinger Band, especially on the daily, as we are above it once again. And we have examples where we can get rejected by it, and we have examples where we can ride it up higher as the daily Bollingers are beginning to widen. Still relatively tight, but definitely spreading out here, and would overall like to see middle Bollinger support continue to rise up there and hold. Looking at it on lower time frames, looks like the 6 hour is currently the most accurate middle Bollinger support level that we want to keep watching. Um, this current follow-up candle here, this 6 hour, and we have one more 4 hour after this one to close out the day. We'll be curious to see um, how Bitcoin retraces from this move, or at least is able to build above it. The 4 hour looks like it can close very bullish in an hour, and the 6 hour, this guy here will close out the day. Closing above 40s, 56 will close a second 6 hour above the upper Bollinger, as the 12 hour would be rejected by it at this price level here. And remember, our 12 hour also rejecting the price action, and also with a true combo 13 here on this count, and it's by far the latest count in the chart. So we're going to see if Bitcoin can maintain, if any alt can find at least more of a significant bullish divergence. Clearly, we're seeing a double up on the bullish divergence between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Litecoin's a little bit ahead of the Bitcoin move here at around 4% on the 24 hour. Bitcoin Cash a little bit higher as well. So I'm almost seeing things moving with Bitcoin now versus that leading move we'd seen with Litecoin and then Ethereum. So the market seems to be really tied to whatever Bitcoin does next, and we're not really seeing any kind of a breakaway from that on the other altcoins until proven otherwise. So the 12 hour is definitely notable to see if we're really kind of expand bullishly here. How far we can go in this move without testing areas of support. And I just want to do one more thing here. I haven't talked about my EMA 12 or 26. I know on the daily, we're still following through with that very nice bull cross. And that is continuing here on the weekly. I wanted to see, so we broke the EMA 12 on the weekly, where we had resisted it, and broke through it intra-week here before closing below. We did break out of it here only to have a very nasty follow up on the previous week. And then, but because we're above it, and if we can close above it, presuming the follow up week doesn't do this, we can begin to look at our EMA 12, EMA 26 on the weekly, slowly falling below 5,500, potentially a longer term next target as well, but still a ways to go for that to happen. Otherwise, we're watching exponential resistance becoming support and expanding on higher time frames. And on any kind of a pullback in Bitcoin, I'll be watching my EMA 12 on the daily as a first area of initial support, currently above $3,800 and rising. Daily volume looks like it will eclipse yesterday's volume as well, so the volume still remains in Bitcoin consistent and high. And one more thing I wanted to talk about was the Bitcoin futures, CME futures. The market's closed. It's weekend. They close tomorrow at, I believe it's 6 p.m. East Coast, I think. It could be off by a couple hours, though. But it's basically tomorrow early evening on the East Coast. There are still the gaps, the one at 43.50 on the 4 hour, or 43.91 on the 4 hour. And then, as we know, there are still several lower gaps around 35.73, and then there is still the hourly gap, but not the 4 hour, but the hourly gap somewhere down here at 3138, but only on the hourly chart. So again, if we were able to close the gap way up here at 4391, would be notable. Now remember, if we close above, or if we're above 4K tomorrow, then the CME futures is going to gap up once again, and because it closed at 3935, so there'll actually be another gap lower than the current price, which will be created if that is the case here. So looking good here, but it's kind of interesting to see how the longs and the shorts are they're both kind of deleveraged. Longs are still a little bit higher, but just to see the extent of the long deleveraging all through this last push of this move here is kind of interesting to think about how much higher we can really go with longs being this low and the shorts being this low, and to see if they're kind of load into this price action that we're seeing right now in Bitcoin. Let's go back to the 6 chart, and there we go. So we got Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash. This was Ethereum. And, as I talked about earlier in the show, an hour ago, even with these pushes higher here, we're still kind of hitting that next area of resistance all around, until proven otherwise. And to prove this otherwise, Bitcoin really has to keep, this area above 41.15, which it was able to get through in the last wick, but still not getting above. And a bunch of other alts, more or less, right there. Yep, are just kind of still doing double tops. Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum is one of the few putting in that higher low. And I can put in, let's see, EOS. I know EOS was definitely just a cranker as well. Cranking much more bullish than Bitcoin and one of the bullish alts. There we go. And over $4 there on Finex. So definitely, come on. And we've seen this before too, where EOS definitely has much more of a bullish expansion when Bitcoin is able to expand um, just the same there. This expansion right at to the penny, the 1, 2, 3, 6. So a lot of these alts still, even with Bitcoin over 4K, are still kind of still in this, resistance, resistance, resistance. Some of it's nearer term resistance, some of it's longer term resistance. These have all been incredible runs. And with Bitcoin really only having, a couple hundred more dollars, if just to get to that next major area of resistance. If it was able to do that, how much higher can these alts go? Or is this just another continuation of a longer market here? So we'll watch Bitcoin. We'll see how it goes. Please give me some thumbs up. Had over 200 viewers. Hoping to get at least 200 thumbs up on this one. Coming in Saturday afternoon here on some interesting price action of Bitcoin. Marked out the areas I want to keep an eye on. And we want to see our consolidation off this move, continue to hold and be strong to see if we can churn what was once resistance into support. And currently, we're just right there on the doorstep of doing exactly that, as we have broken, at least on this wick, above our previous resistance. Let's see if we can hold, as well as how our daily candle will close out as well. So, with that being said, you guys are great. Much appreciated. Thank you for tips again. And I'll keep you guys posted on Twitter and YouTube going forward. Remember to reach out to me if you have interest in my mentoring. And until next time, Big Chonis. Peace.